Pishach. It doesn't kill you right away. It eats you slowly.
We are talking about the horror movie It Lives Inside, which is a kind of demonic attack movie. The kind of unique selling point of this one, I suppose, is that it takes the point of view of an American Indian family. So it's kind of from their perspective as kind of, people of colour living in the US, having their kind of own kind of cultural issues. Both kind of just social and also a demonic entity which comes from their culture as well. It focuses on this young girl who is trying to become kind of more popular with the kind of the kind of in crowd at school, and kind of trying to distance herself from her kind of friend who she used to be kind of best friends with when they were kids. Now, her friend seems to have got possession of this jar which may contain this kind of demonic entity, and they get into an argument, and this the jar is dropped and smashed, releasing this kind of demonic entity which attaches herself to both of these girls and causes demonic problems for them, you might say. And our main girl, our sort of lead protagonist, has to kind of try and resort to trying to overcome this demonic entity, trying to kind of turn to her heritage to try and find a way maybe to stop or trap it. What will happen? You'll have to watch the movie and find out. So let's discuss what I think It Lives Inside is all about. Okay, so this looks like it's actually had a reasonable amount of kind of production value behind it. It looks like a fairly kind of polished end product, I will say. Looks like it has, maybe a little bit kind of higher budget behind it compared to a lot of the movies we review here on this channel. So it does have a slick, kind of polished feel to it. It has an interesting kind of creature, this demonic entity, which kind of looks like an anglerfish with legs. That kind of can turn invisible. I suspect it's invisible somewhat to kind of save the Big Bang kind of finale at the end, but also probably to save a little bit of budget on it as well. But nonetheless, when we do kind of see it, it's all as glory. It's pretty, toothy nightmare fuel. So that I kind of quite liked, and it has an interesting kind of MO where it's trying to, feed off negative emotions and kind of suck the soul out of you and stuff. I mean, it's kind of stuff you've heard before, really, but it makes it for an interesting kind of villain, I suppose. I think our lead character is quite a kind of a likeable. You understand where she's coming from, trying to bridge the gap between her kind of family and traditions, but also trying to ingratiate herself into modern kind of school life and kind of be up to date with kind of trends and things like this and kind of technology and modern culture and everything. So she's kind of an impasse with what to do in regards to her cultural heritage. It's a relatively kind of well-paced film. Like I said, it's relatively kind of somewhat kind of glossy looking. I thought the cast did a pretty good job here. It kind of ticks many of the kind of the boxes you want from a kind of a kind of like creature featured kind of demonic kind of horror film. And I really don't think, if I'm being completely honest with you, it really doesn't really fall down in any particular kind of major categories, I will say. I think it's a relatively, well put together film I think most horror fans can enjoy. And, obviously you have protagonists here with, not the kind of typical kind of like a protagonist you would see in many kind of films like this. So what doesn't work? This movie is like a pretty good film. Okay, however, it really is very kind of paint by numbers in regards to plot. This movie is like 100 movies before it with a very, very similar plot. It's a kind of a girl who comes affected with a kind of a demonic curse. People don't really kind of believe her. No one else can see it. There's kind of jump scares. There's kind of like, you know, the reveal at the end, the kind of the confrontation at the end. It's very, very paint by numbers in regards to the events that happen within the movie, and any type of originality that comes from kind of having this kind of somewhat of a unique cultural, well, not unique, but a less seen kind of cultural background. I really don't think it doesn't stand out as much as you would think it would. I mean, for example, I think they could have used maybe a different music choices to kind of really give it more of a kind of Indian, Hindi kind of flavour, if that makes sense. The movie is partially spoken in Hindi, I should point out, but there's not much. It's about, you know, 15% of the dialogue here is subtitled, but the majority is in English. But yeah, so, you know, it's certainly not a bad movie, but I never really it excels in any particular kind of way. I mean, the characters here, they all do exactly what you think they're going to do. The movie plays out exactly like you think it's going to play out. People who will survive, who will die, are exactly who you think it's going to be. So it's certainly not a bad film. I think it kind of delivers on, you know, a basic level. I think it's perfectly enjoyable, but it's not memorable. And that's the real thing. So I think it's, you know, you can watch this, you can kind of enjoy it for the film that it is, but it's going to remind you of so many other films that you've seen. And like I said, I think the opportunity that it did have to maybe differentiate itself, to try and kind of maybe lean more into the kind of the cultural side of stuff from India, I don't think it kind of quite takes the ball and runs with it. It kind of is there more of a token effort. But it's, like I said, I don't want to kind of make it sound like this is necessarily a bad movie, because it's not. It's actually quite a well put together film in many ways. It's just very, very kind of generic. You know, it kind of feels like this director has seen a lot of kind of American films. I think it's his first American film, and he's just kind of trying to ape that kind of look, and it kind of succeeds, but it really just kind of, I feel, would get lost in the shuffle. So as it stands, I would say this is a well-made film which kind of pushes at an above-average score for me, but it really doesn't kind of stand out from the crowd in any meaningful way at all, to be honest with you. And I think it kind of had missed opportunities to a certain degree to really kind of make a significant mark in any type of originality. So I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It's actually, you know, it's a perfectly kind of watchable film. You know, it's very kind of like, as I say, what you're going to expect. But if you want to, if you're expecting it and you want to watch that, you'll enjoy it. But if you want something a little bit more toothy, a little bit more kind of scary, maybe it won't be kind of quite give you as much bite. So it's a 6 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to you next time.